In other news, the recent landmark meeting between Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas already resulting in a massive windfall for the PA. Israel now agreeing to transfer some 500 million shekels or over $155 million to Ramallah as a loan intended to save its crisis-ridden economy. Additionally, the stabilizing loan is keeping Hamas at arm's length from the West Bank. The question is, how long will this Band-Aid hold? And what happens when it falls? Here with the analysis is former head of the IDF Central Command Strategic Planning Unit for Judea and Samaria, Colonel in the Reserves, Dr. Danny Tirza. Dr. Tirza, thanks so much for joining us. Now, Israel is loaning some 500 million shekels, but because of its sanctions and the PA terror stipends, Israel is also withholding nearly 600 million shekels. So first off, how much does this actually help, this difference of 100 million shekel? And what is what are the challenges that the PA is actually facing? Is this 100 shekels offset going to be enough, or 100,000, 100 million?
The main problem is not the exact amount of the money. The main problem is how the Palestinian Authority is going to use this money. Usually what they're doing, just using it for their salaries of 140,000 Palestinian civil employees. Most of them are the policemen, but in all other. And the main problem is not that using the money for the public. The main problem is that the Palestinian Authority is using this money for corruption on one hand, and the other hand is to give money to these prisoners, what we are calling the terrorists. In their eyes, they are the heroes of the revolution, and therefore they are the people that gain the money. So if the Palestinian Authority wants to do some cure to her economic, she have to use the sources that she has in her hands. The problem is that they lie all the time on the money that the country's donors to the Palestinian Authority and not doing anything for themselves. All the new industrial parks are just open. Nobody wants to work there. They want to work in Israel. They don't want to work in the Palestinian Authority. The people in the street blame Israel. They blame the Palestinian Authority. And the problem is that the people in the streets understand the situation that the Palestinian Authority don't want their own people to live in good standard of life, because if they will do so, no one will take part in the resistance against Israel.
Okay, again, though, if we go back to the issue,
main dilemma of Israel.
But again, Colonel, if we go back to this issue of pay for slay, Israel is withholding that money because the PA pays terrorists, who you said they call freedom fighters or martyrs, whatever it is. They never stopped those stipends. The PA just decided to divert funds, like you said, away from more important places towards corruption, towards these stipends. So isn't Israel really just caving in a sense, on its sanctions?
No. Israel is doing three things at the same time. One thing, that we're trying to improve the standard of life of the people and try to help them, not through the Palestinian Authority, but we don't want to weaken the Palestinian Authority. And therefore, we have to do a lot of things through the Palestinian Authority, but to be sure that the money is not going to the wrong places. On the other hand, Israel all the time have to balance between the money that is given to Gaza and from other donors and the money that is given to the Palestinian Authority. If the Palestinian Authority will not have enough money for the salaries, nobody will take care of them. The people in the streets understand that they need this money for the salaries.
So let's talk now a little bit about the repayment plan. Israel plans to start repaying itself from PA taxes starting next June. But what's being done to address, again, the systemic issues that caused this crisis in the first place? Because if solutions are not implemented when Israel starts its withdrawals, the PA will be, just ahead of collapse again, won't it?
No, Israel will see how we can take this money back. It's not that we're giving the money and we're going to take it next June. We'll take the money
No,
time after time. We'll see what's
sure.
going on. Of course, we'll balance everything in the right time, the right conditions, and we'll see what's going on. We have, in our way, we have the guarantee that the money can come back to Israel from the money that Israel collects the taxes for the Palestinian Authority. So it's not a matter of guarantee, it's a matter of time. And time we can give.
All right, Colonel Tirza, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on.